Yes, everyone, welcome to Full Time Devils. My name is Stephen Howson, and United have beaten Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park 3-1 with goals from Big Rom and my favourite player in the whole wide world, Ashley Young, getting a deflected goal at the end to give us the victory after he basically let them back into the game with abysmal defending. But on the positive notes, with an absolutely makeshift 11, United have managed to make it 8 consecutive away wins in all competitions, which is absolutely mega. United have now exceeded everybody's expectation in terms of points tally under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the league. There's only that little blemish against Paris, which I think that you can really mitigate with them being just simply a better side than us. But yeah, this was a very good performance. Great to see Jimmy Garner getting his debut there at the end. Didn't really get to see a whole lot of him, but I hope that now puts him in contention to be getting minutes elsewhere to really show what he can do. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's likened him to a 20 years younger Michael Carrick, and I think that's not a bad observation, to be honest. I think that's quite similar. I don't think he's got that incisive, very direct pass into the final third, but he spreads it around lovely. He's got a very defensive first kind of attitude as a midfielder, loves to defend, he's quite physical, he's tall, he's definitely a bit of an athlete, and I think he could have a great future at Manchester United. I actually think he's better than Scott McTominay, although I do think Scott had a pretty good game tonight. I thought he was fairly ordinary against Liverpool at weekend. I thought he was hiding quite a lot in the first half, but today I thought he had a pretty decent game. He looked like he was a bit more confident, and maybe that's just what games gives you. Great to see Lukaku getting a couple of goals. I'm still not sure that Lukaku's right for this team and this system. You'll notice that we switched back to a 4-3-3 to try and accommodate Lukaku and try and play to his strengths. I think Sanchez still has to do more. Solskjaer challenged them in his press conference earlier this week, where he said, now with the players that are missing, Sanchez, Lukaku, they've got to really step up to the plate and get counted and actually prove that they're the senior bods in this team, which they are, but they're not actually playing like. And I still think that there's a lot of questions out there on Alexis Sanchez. For me, he doesn't fit in this system. The same as Lukaku. They don't fit the way that I think Ole wants to play the game. And I think that there's a very real chance that both of them could be moved on in the summer should we find someone crazy enough to pay Sanchez his wages. That is. Get your comments in. I will be reading the comments out in a little bit. Good to see Delo getting some minutes. I thought he was all right on the ball. I thought he created a couple of chances. You can't really judge him in the right wing position, really, because it's not really his forte. But I thought he was all right. He did give the ball away quite a bit, but in the areas he was giving it away, I don't really have an issue with that. You always expect players that are trying to make things happen are going to give the ball away a bit more frequently. When you have an issue with it is when your centre mid and your defence is doing it. That's when it's a problem. Fred, I don't know what he brings to this team. It felt like he was being bossed around by everybody else all night. He looked a little lost, if I can be honest with that. I think that it might be a big settling in period for Fred. Unlike with Lindelof wasn't a settling in period. Lindelof actually had to change his game. Lindelof was playing the exact same way he played when he was at Benfica, and the weaknesses that we saw at Benfica were evident, and they were the weaknesses that were being exploited once he came to United. It wasn't a settling in period that Lindelof had to do. Lindelof had to adapt his game, and he did. Because we were seeing the same thing. What he did at Benfica was exactly what we got at United. That's not an adaptation thing, that was a pure ability thing. Lindelof's improved and now has the ability to play and is our first choice centre-half at the moment. I think that's evidently clear. He is our first choice centre-half. Fred could be an adaptation thing, because the player that we saw at Shakhtar, yes, lower level league, but we still see this guy playing at national football. What you're seeing from Fred output right now is not what he was doing for Shakhtar and for his international team. Is that a case of finding the right system, the right position that gets the best out of him? Maybe. But I think that you're not seeing the Fred that we saw elsewhere. So I think that is an adaptation issue. I said, if we don't see him against Palace, considering the injuries that we've got, then he must just be dog shit in training. Maybe if we don't see him and the likes of Garner, McTominay, maybe even overtake him in the pecking order. I think between the three academy lads that we've got there, Garner, McTominay, and Andreas Pereira, you might see Fred ousted out of the 11. I thought that was a strange decision to play Delo instead of Chong or Andreas Pereira, because in terms of age, Pereira's the oldest, is probably the most experienced out of the three, and there's not much between Chong and Delo. Now, I understand the reason for maybe wanting to use Delo as well as Young on that right-hand side, because as you saw, Young just getting twisted up left, right and centre by Zaha, so it might have been an idea to have someone a bit more defensive-minded on that side, instead of someone like Chong, who is ultra aggressive. But I thought the output from Chong might have been a little bit higher. The fact that he was on the bench, I think that means that he's probably going to be involved in the future. And the suspicion that we had, or that I had at least, that Mason Greenwood wasn't injured, like has been getting reported, and probably has been getting worked on behind the scenes so that he can come into the squad at some point. Disappointing to not see him on the bench, but we did see him travel with the squad. Same with Angel Gomez, and I think with the injuries that we've got in around the squad at the moment, as the season progresses, you're going to see minutes for both of those, I think, and both of them completely well-deserved. Like the video if you enjoyed the performance. Like the video if you enjoyed seeing Lukaku get back to winning ways. And like the video if you're just loving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's reign at Manchester United. I'm going to come to the questions and see what you guys are saying. Bilal says Sanchez needs to wake up. Ahmed says Sanchez didn't defend for the Crystal Palace goal. David says Shane Mason wasn't on the bench to rest Rashford. It's a good point. Now they did mention that Rashford hasn't exacerbated his injury by playing on. I can't imagine that to be true, but if that's what the experts are saying, that's what the experts are saying. And considering the injury that he had to have, or that he endured against Liverpool, I find it crazy that we've even put him on at all tonight when we could have used somebody like Mason in the last 5 minutes. I think that's kind of mad. Garner to replace Matic in the future. There's a lot of similarities between the way they both play, to be honest. One thing that Matic does bring is that calming, experienced influence. I don't think you're getting that out of a 17-year-old. The ability's there, though. The ability is definitely there. The experience, the nous, the know-how, the dark arts, the dirty shit, that's what Garner needs to learn, and that's what I'm hoping Michael Carrick is able to do. How was my favourite player, Young, today? He was shite. And scoring a goal at the end doesn't cover up for the fact he was shite all day long. The fact that we've even got him in the team, and the fact that he wears the armband, I'm over it, to be honest. It's an annoyance that's just going to rumble on until he leaves. But it's not good. Am I still confident on top four? I think we're finishing third. I've been saying that for weeks and weeks and weeks. I don't know what score Tottenham finished. Does anyone know what score Tottenham finished? They were drawing at one point, I think. Connor says a bit harsh on Fred, Young and Lukaku. I thought they all played well compared to recent performances. I don't think you can say that about Fred. I actually don't think you can say that about Young either. I thought Lukaku looked better than he has done recently. But the rest of them, I don't think so. How long until the board announce Ole, do you think? I can't imagine they'd go for anyone else now. I've been trying to weigh up what's the benefits of holding on to it and what's the benefits of saying that this is going to happen. And I don't think there's any benefits to holding on to this now at all. Because if you're going to try and sort out your summer signings, they need to know who the manager's going to be before they can make a decision on whether they want to come and play for you or not. The sheer weight of players that we need to get signed up to contracts that are expiring this summer is enormous, including David De Gea. So if he's happy with Ole, you know he's happy with Ole, announce Ole and let the guy sign his extension if that's what it's going to be. Tottenham lost 2-0. Right, so we're even closer to them now. I thought it was close at weekend. We could have capitalised and if we'd have managed to get 3 points against Liverpool, but we didn't. We have now pulled another couple of points out of the bag for them. We don't have them to play, but they've got some serious serious games left in the season, and I think we can get above them. I really do. I really do think we can get above them. And for anybody that's claiming Pochettino still to be the United manager after the performances that they put in, the 11 that they've got, look at the 11 we're putting out at the moment and the results that we're putting in, and look at the 11 that they've got. Yes, Pochettino's built a great 11 and he does deserve credit for it, but that 11 is an 11 capable of winning the league. This guy, as much as he was ridiculed towards the end of his reign at Manchester United, Jose Mourinho wins something with that Tottenham team, undoubtedly, because that team's got the defence that he would be happy to let his team attack on. He didn't attack at United because he didn't rate the defence. Solskjaer's had a different view and gone, bollocks, we'll attack. And we'll try and score more than you. But I think that Mourinho will probably definitely win stuff with that Tottenham team because it's got a great defence, it's got a very solid midfield, it's got a brilliant attack. You know, Christian Eriksen is a wonderful player. Son, amazing player. Harry Kane, absolute top draw level finisher. Defence is top. Midfield is very, very solid. You know, all the plaudits that you get, Dele Alli is better than Lingard, and the rest of the Tottenham midfield. I mean, even like Harry Winks, I think is a fantastic player. Their 11's better than ours. And the fact that they've not won anything with that 11 is an indictment on Pochettino for me. And yes, he deserves the credit for building that team and for doing it on very little spend, but there is no correlation to spend on transfers to success. Tottenham outspent United and Liverpool in the 80s, won fuck all. Liverpool outspent United in the 90s. You know what they won. I think in the noughties it was Chelsea, and they obviously won a couple of things, but they didn't spend what they won and what they spent wasn't. There was no correlation between it. There's no correlation to winning and transfer spend. That's a fact. Chong should start against Southampton, says Callum. Interesting. Pereira needs time. Pereira needs to know where he's going to play because he's not that 6 for me. I think he can be an 8. He can also play as a wide forward off one side, which is why I wouldn't mind seeing him today instead of Dalot there. But yeah, I agree. Have I seen Trippier's own goal? I ain't seen anything of the Tottenham game just yet. I'll check it out though. Tottenham starting 11 is better than ours. You're deluded. No, it's a fact, mate. It's an absolute fact. You go through their 11, it's better than ours. We've probably got Pogba and De Gea that start for them. Name somebody else that starts for them. Does Lindelof start ahead of Vertonghen and Alderweireld? No. Does Luke Shaw? It's not that simple. They've got the better 11. And that is it for me. Righty, I'm going to be doing United review over on my channel. I've also got a Rio Ferdinand podcast coming out very, very soon as well, which you definitely need to come and check out. So search my name on YouTube, come and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters.